Germany's cabinet has approved a supplementary 2023 budget after the coalition government agreed to suspend borrowing restrictions.
It comes after a ruling from the Constitutional Court which created a $65 billion hole in the country's spending pledges for next year. The ruling struck down government plans to reallocate unused funds from the pandemic era for climate and energy projects. Peter Oliver is our correspondent in Berlin. Peter, what's the latest?
Right, well, freezing temperatures here in Berlin, in blizzards expected to be inbound across most of Germany. However, what we have seen on Monday is the German government unfreeze their financial issues when it comes to a budget. They have agreed that they can pass this supplementary budget, this emergency budget, to get them through to the end of the year. The reason they needed this is because the Constitutional Court had ruled that the previous financial plans were unconstitutional, blasting this $65 billion hole in their finances. The way they've been able to get this across the line, or agree this particular budget, is they've agreed to suspend the debt brake, as it's called. These are emergency measures. These are, self-imposed measures that stop the German government or limit the German government the amount that it can borrow. It places the borrowing limit at 0.35% of GDP. Now, what the German government can do in times of emergency is it can suspend that to borrow more money. Times of emergency being natural disasters, global pandemics, for example, or in the case of 2022, energy crises, when we saw the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia impact the energy sources coming from Russia to Germany. Well, what they've said now is that's still an ongoing crisis, that's still an ongoing situation, and therefore an ongoing emergency, and they've been able to get that across the line and pass it as an emergency, therefore suspending the debt brake. Not everybody happy about that, though.
Not everyone happy, Peter. How is this drama testing the ruling coalition?
Well, it depends what camp you're in. If you were in the economy ministry just behind me, we've heard Robert Habeck saying that what this shows is we need to completely reform the debt brake, perhaps even throw it out altogether. Worthwhile pointing out that's not incredibly popular with the people. 61% of those polled on Friday said they want to keep the debt brake. Germany, remember, has very little national debt compared to, say, the other members of the G7 group that it belongs to. Then, of course, we have Christian Lindner, the finance minister, who it seems very begrudgingly got on side with extending the emergency situation to allow this budget to go through. It seems like his Free Democrats are on board by saying, we'll do this one more time, but this is one more time. What does that mean for the 2024 budget? Well, it probably means that there's some cuts coming if it's to go ahead. And I say if it's to go ahead because there is a lot of talk about this being the straw that could break the coalition back. In fact, we've had a number of people in a poll saying over 80%, 82% of those polled, in fact, by the state broadcaster ZDF, saying they can see real friction, real problems between the coalition leaders and opposition politicians. Of course, they would, being opposition politicians, in Markus Söder, the leader of the Christian Social Union down in Bavaria, saying that things are that bad, Germany needs to have new elections, needs to have early elections in June of next year to coincide with the European parliamentary vote because the situation is that bad. But of course, Markus Söder would say that because his Christian Union, he's part of the Christian Social Union, the Christian Democratic Union up here in the rest of Germany, Christian Social Union in Bavaria, well, they're currently on around 30% or polling at 30%. That's almost twice as much as their nearest competitor in the ruling coalition, 16% for the Social Democrats. If there was a vote tomorrow, it would be more than likely the Christian Union would get in. So he would say we should be having an election. The debt brake, though, it does seem like it's the thing that's pushing the coalition to its very limit.